India is a vast country situated in South Asia, sharing borders with Pakistan, China, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka. It is also referred to as Hindustan, which translates to the land of Hindus. Unfortunately, minorities have historically faced discrimination in Hindustan. Despite Prime Minister Narendra Modi's that his government upholds the fundamental principles of democracy. They have consistently demonstrated that democracy can be effective irrespective of one's caste, creed, religion, or gender. However, it is crucial to question the veracity of these assertions. Does India genuinely possess a democratic system? Does it genuinely uphold human values? Or are these merely hollow claims made by Modi to impress world leaders? These concerns lead us to contemplate the potential catastrophic consequences of a third term for Modi, particularly for the 200 million Muslims residing in India. Let's dig out. Mohammed Saad eagerly anticipated his journey back to Bihar in eastern India to reunite with his family. With a train ticket in hand and his belongings packed, he prepared to depart the following morning. However, fate had a different plan in store for him. Tragically, on the night of July 31st, 2023, a group of approximately 200 Hindus launched a violent attack on the Anjuman Mosque in Gurugram, where Saad held the position of deputy imam. While he peacefully slept, the mob mercilessly took his life. In their destructive rampage, they also set fire to the sacred place of worship. Sectarian conflict broke out in the nearby Na region, spreading rapidly to Gurugram, a modern satellite city of Delhi that is home to the headquarters of global companies like Google, Meta, and Deloitte. The unrest in Gurugram served as a stark indication that the rising discrimination against religious minorities, especially Muslims, was not limited to rural areas. Furthermore, it bolstered claims from opponents that Narendra Modi's Hindu nationalist administration had normalized sectarian violence, a reality that Saad, a 22-year-old who advocated for religious unity in his online videos, tragically experienced. The victim suffered numerous knife wounds on his chest and neck, indicating a frenzied and prolonged attack. This tragic incident completely altered the course of our family's life. I lost a beloved brother, and my parents lost their precious son due to an act of hatred towards Muslims in our nation. While Anwar continues to seek justice for his brother's murder, the Indian authorities have swiftly taken action by demolishing hundreds of homes and shops in Na. This collective and extrajudicial punishment is aimed at the local Muslim community, whom they accuse of instigating the violence that resulted in the deaths of 6 individuals. Now, almost 9 months later, as Anwar's family prepares to participate in the upcoming national elections, they are forced to contemplate the potential implications of a third consecutive term for Modi. This decision holds significant weight for them and the 200 million Muslims who reside in our country. During Modi's tenure, there has been a significant increase in instances of hate speech directed towards religious minorities, as well as numerous attacks on their educational institutions and places of worship. Additionally, mob lynchings have become alarmingly prevalent. In recent times, Indian authorities have implemented a form of justice that can be described as bulldozer justice, specifically targeting Muslims for both real and perceived transgressions. The demolition campaign in Na was so overtly biased that Haryana's High Court questioned the state government about whether it was engaging in a deliberate act of ethnic cleansing against Muslims. Hindu hardline groups, including the Bajrang Dal and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, have been operating freely, despite being associated with the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, and having thousands of members. Muslims have faced discrimination to the point where Hindus are now refusing to hire them and are avoiding social interactions with them. For instance, a Muslim man invited 10 Hindu families to an event at his home, but only 3 individuals showed up, stated a resident of Delhi. He expressed concern for his children due to the increasingly difficult situation for Muslims in the country. This concern is valid, as instances of what Muslim scholar Qari Nasiruddin describes as injustice and anti-Muslim sentiment are not difficult to come across. Nasiruddin highlights, for instance, the destruction of a mosque, a Muslim cemetery, and an Islamic school in the heart of the national capital. Nasiruddin serves as the imam of a mosque in Morali that provided shelter to the displaced children. The vast complex was demolished on the 30th of January by the Delhi Development Authority, under the control of Modi's central government, which alleged it was an unauthorized occupation. The fact that the Akunji Mosque was a historically significant site constructed nearly 600 years ago in the same area as the iconic Qutb Minar did not seem to matter. The demolition of the mosque shortly after Modi's participation in the inauguration of the new Ram temple in Ayodhya, which was built on the remains of the Babri Mosque destroyed by a Hindu mob in 1992, was not lost on the Muslim community in the city. In the neighboring state of Uttar Pradesh, governed by Hindu monk Adityanath, the High Court effectively prohibited Islamic schools by declaring a law in 2004 that deemed them unconstitutional. This order would have affected approximately 2.7 million students, but it has been temporarily suspended by the Supreme Court. Islamic schools, known as madrasas, primarily cater to underprivileged or orphan children. A teacher in Delhi, who educates such children, believes that the Indian authorities are targeting Islamic schools under the guise of countering radicalization, but sees it as nothing more than a conspiracy to defame Muslims. The teacher explains that most of the children they serve are orphans or come from economically disadvantaged backgrounds, and by providing education, shelter, and food, they are alleviating the burden on the government. Mr. X, a data scientist residing in Haryana, expresses his concerns about the current state of affairs, but prefers to remain anonymous. According to him, Muslims in India now perceive a clear bias in government policies. He finds the normalization of hatred deeply unsettling, and the government's response to it only adds to the alarm felt by minority communities. Mr. X points out that when violence is perpetrated against minorities, no action is taken. However, if individuals from the Muslim community raise their voices, they are met with intimidation, symbolized by a bulldozer stationed outside their homes. In 2023, India Hate Lab, a research group based in the US, documented 668 incidents of hate speech targeting Muslims. Out of these, 413 occurred in the last 6 months of the year, coinciding with significant state elections. Social activist highlights that since Modi assumed power, there has been an exponential increase in hate speech specifically targeting Muslims. This includes politicians and Hindu religious leaders making calls for genocide, which is deeply concerning. Mander further emphasizes that India is witnessing a disturbing surge in hate speech and targeted violence against individuals, commonly referred to as mob lynching. This term was not prevalent before, indicating a shift in societal norms. The prevalence of such acts can only occur in an environment that encourages and enables them, and unfortunately, they're validated by open endorsements of violence. Prior to the national elections, the Citizenship Amendment Act, which had been passed by Parliament in December 2019, but was put on hold due to widespread protests, was activated by the Modi government. This law openly discriminates against Muslims. In a related development, the BJP government in Uttarakhand, a northern state, implemented a uniform civil code. This law has faced criticism for superseding the personal laws of religious minorities with Hindu laws. The BJP has long pledged to implement a similar code nationwide, aligning with the agenda of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS). a paramilitary volunteer organization advocating for India to become a Hindu nation. The RSS serves as the central organization for a network of Hindu nationalist groups, including the BJP. In fact, the BJP was established in 1980 as the political wing of the RSS. Under Modi's leadership, it has become the dominant force in Indian politics, making him the longest-serving prime minister from a party other than the main opposition party, Congress. In recent years, Hindu groups, along with their ideological allies in the media, have targeted Muslims with conspiracy theories such as love jihad, land jihad, halal jihad, and population jihad. These theories falsely claim that the minority community is deceitfully enticing Hindu women, encroaching on land, and increasing their population. These conspiracy theories are essentially a series of fantastical claims. They are absurd and reminiscent of the conspiracy theories propagated against Muslims. Stated a critic, it is concerning that these theories not only circulate on social media, but are also used by chief ministers and ministers of the ruling party. This amplifies the concern. The love jihad conspiracy, in particular, has resulted in deaths and led to around a dozen states governed by the BJP criminalizing religious conversions and interfaith relationships. The U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom has highlighted that such legislation empowers and encourages existing government harassment, vigilante violence, and discrimination against religious minorities, as well as crackdowns on civil society organizations. In this scenario, another term for Modi is described as particularly alarming. Back in 2014, there was optimism, with the BJP leader pledging to combat corruption, generate 240 million jobs, and bolster the economy. The current situation for India's Muslims is described as alarming. The position of Muslims has been altered, and there is little chance of undoing the harm inflicted on the social fabric if he secures a third term. Hatred has become normalized. The Hindu population, exceeding 1 billion, has been misled into believing that they will be in charge. It is actually the RSS that will govern and influence all aspects of Hindu lives. Hindus must understand that they are surrendering themselves to an organization that advocates for uniformity and aims to standardize Hinduism. The situation for Muslims in India is already dire, and it will worsen if the BJP further tightens its grip on power. Muslims in India are being systematically marginalized and isolated under the BJP's ideology. During a rare press conference in the US last year, Modi asserted that democracy is ingrained in our DNA when questioned about his government's purported discrimination against minorities. Modi emphasized the essence of democracy during his address alongside US President Joe Biden, stating that his government has consistently upheld the fundamental principles of democracy. He highlighted the government's track record of demonstrating that democracy can effectively deliver irrespective of factors such as caste, creed, religion, or gender. Furthermore, Modi firmly asserted that discrimination has no place in their governance. He emphasized that democracy must encompass human values, humanity, and the protection of human rights. Otherwise, it cannot truly be considered a democracy. However, some perceive this as a hypocritical portrayal of Modi to world leaders. This raises concerns about the potential consequences of a third term for Modi, particularly for India's 200 million Muslims, which could be deemed catastrophic. And that's a wrap, folks. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome content. Ring the bell to stay updated with our latest uploads. Got any thoughts or questions? Drop me a comment below. We love hearing from you. Check out my other videos for more great content. And remember, stay curious, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and keep shining. Hold on a sec. I am not finished yet. Follow me on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube obviously. Do it now. Come on, do it. Thank you for watching. And a huge shout out to our subscribers and Patreon supporters for making this possible. You're the real MVPs. Signing off, peace out.